if I'm right that Trump is moving towards taking Greenland, we will hear these lines again and again and again, and we need to start challenging them. And one fundamental line is Greenland is absolutely essential to the security of NATO because, Russia can use the Arctic, and therefore the United States obviously has to make Greenland part of the United States. Now, there's a number of claims there. Number one, this isn't an administration that actually behaves as though Russia is an existential threat. If they really believed Russia was an existential threat, they'd be doing different things in Ukraine. In fact, it's an administration that keeps assuring us that Putin has perfectly reasonable demands in Ukraine. If you just gave him Eastern Ukraine, he's not going to cause any trouble to anyone anyway. So how does that stack with, we need Greenland because Russia is an existential threat? Number two, there is no limit, basically, to the number of troops that the United States could keep in Greenland. Mm-hmm. They have actually radically reduced the number of their troops in Greenland. There's no reason for them to own Greenland if what they're saying is this is vital to NATO's security. The only conclusion is they need US troops there, but they've decided not to put US troops there, despite the fact that Denmark is happy for them to keep troops there. The more dramatic thing is that Trump doesn't even really bother that much with legal arguments. No. That there's not even the hypocritical stuff that gunboat diplomacy in the 19th century did. When Britain was going around doing terrible things and taking other people's territory, they were always pretending they were doing it for a good reason. They were dealing with the slave trade or they were dealing with some human rights abuse. Trump is almost the first person since Genghis Khan to say, I'm just going to help myself to territory. I'm not even going to pretend actually this ever belonged to the United States. But instead, to quote Stephen Miller, the US should have Greenland.
The word he and others have been using, I've noticed, I think Vance used this word as well, when they were questioned about, is this legal? And they talked about, well, we can sit here and talk about international niceties, okay? And so the nicety is the idea that there's such a thing as a sovereign nation. As Stephen Miller said, it's a very small population, but it's a country, it's a people, it's a culture, it's a history.